Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today our guests are Paul Eterno and Lisa Schmidt. Thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And I know I've met you all at a couple conferences, I think, and we've talked numerous times, and it's been encouraging to see your all success and what you've been able to accomplish. And but a little about them. Paul had a successful 37-year career as a human resources executive in corporate America. After losing his job to private equity, he gave his life to Christ, re-engineered his career to the field of tax liens and deeds through the U.S. Tax Lien Association, and was selected for their first mastermind group where he met his business partner, Lisa. She focuses on multifamily value-add investments in the Southeast, Southwest, and Mid-Atlantic states with current holdings in Texas, North Carolina, and Georgia, and are adding properties in Missouri and North Carolina. Wow, that's all over the place. That's awesome. They joined RE Mentor in July of 2016, which provided their multifamily training. They formed Legacy Property Partners USA in December of 2016 and began pursuing multifamily commercial real estate deals. So, Paul and Lisa, thank you all again for your time. I'm looking forward to hearing about, this partnership and really, a little about how that came about, and then even getting into, your success, since you partnered. Because personally, I've seen so many people in the business like, okay, this guy's really good at this over here, or this lady, and this one's really good at this over here. But then when they've like found that partner that's like, now they've got this team that, it's like they just blast off. And it looks like that's what's happening with you all. So give us a little more about, your all's background possibly, and let's dive into really this partnership.
All right. You go first, Lisa. Go ahead. Ladies first.
Okay. Well, background-wise, I did not have the corporate background. I was a teacher for 20 years, taught students with special needs. And following that, I was a realtor for 5 years out in California. And then we moved out of the country. And so when I came back, that's when I got into tax deeds and liens, and did that, was loving it. But as you had read, we met at a mastermind and got to know each other very well, because over the course of that year, we met 4 times and for 3 days at a shot, and it was a life mastermind. So we really got to know the people in that group. And Paul and I knew our values, our ethics, and then turns out our real estate goals were aligned. So, and we both wanted to go into multifamily, identified USTL, or with the help of USTLA, identified RE Mentor as a group that we wanted to have teach us. And so we went to the first event and said, sign us up, because we want the whole shebang. And we decided, it just made sense to partner. There's always, power in numbers, and 2 minds are better than one. And as you mentioned, the synergy that you get from working together and just keeping each other motivated, keeping each other, on track, has been wonderful. And when you've got a great partner like Paul, it's easy to do. So that's how we met. That's how we got started. And that's just a little bit about me.
Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, as you mentioned, I had a 37-year career in human resources, executive management, mostly in Manhattan and on Long Island. My last position was Senior Vice President of Human Resources for a global telecommunications company. That company was sold to private equity. And at the age of 59, I needed to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And my wife, in her infinite wisdom, said to take several months off and think and pray about what you want to do. And I did that. I followed her advice. And that's how I got started with the U.S. Tax Lien Association, and started purchasing tax deeds. Had some success doing that. Had pretty good success. I purchased 11 deeds in 15 months. And that was the launching pad for getting involved in the commercial, because as a result of that, as Lisa mentioned, we made the mastermind, their first mastermind. Lisa and I met. I met her husband because he was part of the mastermind group as well. And we just clicked. We just saw that we had similar core values, same beliefs, and same work ethic. And it's been a fantastic partnership. Lisa and I are very much alike, and yet we're very different in how we approach things. So we're a good check and balance to each other, which I think is key to a successful partnership. She keeps me she keeps me straight and grounds me, because I can tend to be pie in the sky a little bit. I look at things from 35,000 feet. She looks at it from the nitty gritty. So she's the detail person.
It's good to have both of those perspectives. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I found just being in a partnership too, it's, so much of this is mindset, and, you can be a little discouraged, or you're really working on something. Maybe it's not working out, where the other person come in and they can say one thing and it's like, oh, well, that makes sense, and it just helps move the needle and move you that much further. But tell me about your different skill sets that really complement one another, that make this a great partnership. Because I know a lot of people that are listening, I know, are thinking about, or they're looking for that partner, to do this same thing. And so what were you looking for, and what are, how do your skill sets complement one another?
Well, I think we're both people person. First of all, Lisa's very personable, very approachable, very easy to talk to. I, with my career in human resource executive, I'm a very good listener. A lot of times I felt I was turning my collar around when you're dealing with employees, but I've learned to be a good listener. So when you're dealing with brokers and sellers and other parties within the real estate business, it's good to be a good listener and listen first before you speak. Because typically when you speak first, you get yourself in trouble. So we're both good listeners. Lisa, as I mentioned, is very detail oriented. I am not. I admittedly am not detail oriented. She takes the footnotes and records everything, records conversations, and thank God she does that, because I miss a lot of things when it comes to that. So. And I think that's where we complement each other very well. We don't miss a detail because of her. And she worries for both of us too. She's the worry ward. So I tend not to worry. She worries a lot. She worries for both of us. So that's good.
Grew up Catholic, what can I say? And I'm Italian. I mean, yeah. But, also, I would say when we first started off, we knew that we had the same values, and we both had the same goals, and we of course laid those out, what our goals were, but we weren't too sure exactly how the actual jobs of the whole business were going to divvy out. And so what we did with our first deals was we decided to start off with, we both were going to do everything. And so we did. We both did all the underwriting. And if Paul found one, he underwrote it. And then if it was something that looked good, then we got on together and we went through everything together. We still do that with the underwriting, but we went through every phase of it together. We both did everything. And as we progressed, we thought this would happen, and fortunately it did. There just became kind of a natural separation as far as what Paul kind of had more natural expertise in, and what I kind of gravitated toward. So Paul handles all of our investor relations. He handles our capital raises. He spearheads that. I kind of spearhead the asset management, maybe a little bit more of the acquisition side, although we both participate in acquisitions, and we both participate in the equity raises, because that is definitely a team sport. But we both have our parts that we head up. And I must say, Paul, I'm sure because of his HR and just because of his personality, he's excellent at the investor relations. And
I have the advantage living in New York. I'm surrounded by money, by capital. Yeah. So we have a lot of potential resources here in the New York metro area, and I'm trying to tap into those. And we've had some pretty good success. And we have we go to a lot of meetups, going to a lot of conferences in Manhattan, getting involved with high net worth individuals. So it's been a great experience and great exposure as well. So, and there's a lot more to be had here. So I think over time we're building relationships, and we're going to build even more. And I think the success that we've had has also helped us, because a lot of our investors who got involved in our first deal, when we sold that deal and got the returns that we got, the vast majority of those investors rolled over their funds into another deal with us. So that's the secret to success, is making sure that you exceed the expectations of your investors. And through the grace of God, we were able to do that. So It worked out well.
That's a great feeling when you can exit a deal and provide even more returns than what you projected, or faster than you projected. Investors usually don't mind that too much.
No.
And so that's awesome that, that obviously they're looking to invest again, and
Yep.
do it again and again and again. And
Yep.
so tell me about the training that you all received. I know, you all joined RE Mentor. Had you all partnered before that, or was that kind of during that same process, or when did that, with the timeline there?
Well, I think we went to the boot camp in 2016, in June or July of 2016, and that's when we signed up for their training program. And then we went on a series of boot camps with them, learning how to, we actually visited properties to learn what you need to look for when you see the physical property, looking at roofs, looking to see if there are satellite dishes on the roofs, which is a no-no, and looking at siding issues and windows and things like that. Just looking at the physical structure to see what can be improved to raise the value of the property. We also took a boot camp on underwriting, how to read a T12, how to read a rent roll, what things to look for. Are there spikes in the rent in the T12? How do you go about explaining away those spikes or getting to the root cause of those spikes, and just looking at trends between income, amongst the income lines and the expense lines, learning about
asset management.
Asset management. Yeah, asset management. Doing due diligence. Just the entire due diligence checklist process. And they had a boot camp for each one of those. So we attended each of those boot camps. Sitting with syndicators, we actually had an opportunity to sit with probably 15 syndicators in a conference room, and then go rotate throughout the room and interview syndicators and have them interview us, sponsors, so that we could see if we had any synergies with any of those sponsors. And that's how we found two or three of our sponsors was in that boot camp. And we've had successful partnerships with those sponsors. So that's worked out well.
We should be doing a commercial for RE Mentor, because all these classes were with RE Mentor.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so here's the simple truth. If you don't have private investors waiting on the sidelines right now, you're going to have a hard time closing your next syndication. Are you afraid to talk to investors? Do you feel you have a lack of credibility, or no one will take you seriously? Or what about your systems? Do you have anything set up yet? Well, if you know you can improve on getting in front of and influencing passive investors, then you should call my friend Adam Adams. Adam has a proven system for you to flip the script. Now, this is a 5-figure investment for you to take your business to the next level. I want to see you succeed, so I placed a link in the show notes for you to apply to work with the Adam Adams. And if you think you qualify and you know you're going to take action on what he teaches you, then scroll down, find the link, and take your money-raising abilities to the next level. Yeah, I've met lots of people who have had lots of success, through that program.
And
we feel that
that's one of the strengths that we bring to the table that a lot of other investors don't have, is that we have that family of RE Mentor. So we have, for instance, if we go after a property that maybe we don't have the expertise in, we can branch out, but because we can pull in a co-sponsor that has that expertise. Or if we run into something that we haven't experienced before, we have different people that we know very well, and we have the backing of that group that we can go to. And I think that's been very, very, very helpful for us. It's been they're a wonderful family to learn through.
Yeah, I think anyone's success is predicated on the people that you associate yourself with. And we have been blessed to be trained by some of the best in the business. When we were with the United States Tax Lien Association, we were mentored by the two founders of the USTLA, Tony Martinez and Sean Higgins, and their mentor, who happens to be a 45-year career commercial guy. So he was a world of knowledge for us. So we were trained by the best. And then when we got to RE Mentor, they have just a bullpen of experts that have been doing this for years and years. And we've been able to rely on them for guidance and support. and they've just helped. They've just accelerated our progress and our success tremendously in 3 years.
For the listeners who are thinking about partnering with somebody, give me maybe your top two things that are like, okay, you definitely need to think about this before you partner, or and maybe a thing or two about after you partner. Here's a couple things that you got to keep this in mind.
I'm going to lead this off. I'm going to go back to my dad. Had a business, a family business. It was a restaurant, and he was partnered with my uncle. And as I got older, I was getting ready. This was way before I, was in real estate, but I was looking at opening up a business and joining with another gal. And my dad said to me, Lisa, you better think long and hard before you go into business and get a partner. He said, consider it a marriage. He said, and you better make sure you're partnered with the right person. And so, number one, that was what I believe that the mastermind group that we were in, that was so detailed into, it was, we were sharing our hopes, dreams, fears. We knew the 12 people in this mastermind group very well. And that, I think, was very instrumental in allowing Paul and us to be so comfortable knowing each other that we were sure that we aligned. And so that going in, know the person that you're going into partnership. Just don't willy-nilly say, oh, that'll be fun. Let's do a partnership. Because you're going to be talking to that person every day, or at least I think you should be, and many times a day, and working with them nonstop. And if you're not aligned, you can handle some issues, but if your ethics and morals and goals are not aligned, just like in a marriage, it's going to be problems.
Yeah, and you need to be brutally honest with your partner. If there's something that concerns you, you need to be able to speak openly and honestly, and work through that. And Lisa and I have done that several times during the course of this partnership so far.
For instance, before the show today, I made sure Paul powdered his head. I mean, you got to.
Whitney, you see the abuse I take from her.
That's funny. And one thing, you had mentioned earlier, Paul, is that like in the mastermind, you'd even met Lisa's husband. And I just know, like when my business partner and I partnered, each of us and our spouses got on a Zoom call and numerous times for, like an hour long at least each time. But just really asking, just really laying it out there to ask any question you want to ask. Now's the time before we commit to this marriage, like you said, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, I just thought that's interesting. You already knew her husband, and I just think it's so important because ultimately you're partnering with him as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Rick's a great guy. And we sort of had these, we had sort of simpatico because Lisa's family is a family of military people. They're, her husband Rick's a former XO in the Marines. Her daughter's in the Marines. One of her sons was in the Marines. Her other son was in the Army. And I was not a veteran, but I have a heart for veterans, and I am on a board of a 501c3 that supports veterans. So we had that sort of synergy as well. So we have like minds in that regard as well.
So what about after the partnership? Okay, now we've decided, okay, we're going to do this. What's helped you all to be successful through this partnership? Is it a meeting certain times a month, or a call, or whatever, or certain discussions or goals you set, or, what has that looked like for you all to say, okay, we're helped you to be successful through the partnership?
We speak every day, just virtually every day. We're on the phone with each other. Mm-hmm. We're constantly communicating, talking about what our goals are for the week, the day, the week, and the month, and then we do set goals. We have a monthly goal setting session with each other to see where we are, and we set annual goals as well. So I think goal setting is important, and you need to have that because that's your roadmap to get to where you want to be. So,
and I think also. What has helped is, even though at the beginning we were doing everything together, once we felt comfortable with what we were doing, we definitely started segregating and trying to eliminate the duplicity in what we were doing, because otherwise, why have a team if you're both doing everything?
Yeah.
So we tried to eliminate that, and we're constantly discussing and modifying what we're doing to make it work better. And we're brutally honest with each other. When one of us feels the other one is going in the wrong direction, we both are really good at telling each other, keep your eye, don't keep your eye on the ball, or one of us will say, shiny ball, there you go, you're going, get back over here, get back in the lane.
That's me. I'm chasing a shiny ball most of the time.
No, that's awesome. And I appreciate you all sharing that, because partnerships can be such a great thing, but they can also end very quickly or be bad very quickly as well. Mm-hmm. And so, it's great to see that you all have done it successfully and have navigated that, which a lot of people struggle with. And so, just a few questions though, before we run out of time. What's been the hardest part of the syndication journey for you all?
The hardest part?
Along the way, but gosh, hardest thing. Gosh, I don't know.
Finding deals, raising capital, finding other partners, anything like that?
That's all been a challenge. The finding partners, not so much, because we've got the RE mentor family that we can pull from. So that has not been as much of a challenge. Raising capital, that's been some challenges, although, I think we're overcoming them. We just recently grew our organization. We brought in 2 young guys that are just like, they say, the smart person, the smart leader brings in people that are smarter than them. Well, Paul and I took that to heart, and these two young men run circles, and sometimes we're like, what? I mean, they're brilliant. They are underwriting for us, and they are just absolutely brilliant. So that has been, that took us up another notch in the organization. We've had our challenges with raising money, but I think that was just a product of being new and growing our network. That's getting, we're growing that network, and that's getting easier and easier.
I think a challenge is learning to be patient. This is not a sprint. This business is definitely not a sprint. It's a marathon. You need to be patient with the process. These deals just take time. I mean, you're not going to close a deal like this in 2 or 3, like in weeks or months. I mean, you have to develop broker relationships, and that takes a long time before you start getting off-market type deals from brokers. That's taken literally years, several months to years to do that. And now we're starting to see the fruits of our labor in that regard, because now we do have brokers that are sending us deals, and we're starting to see more deal flow, going to conferences and building relationships and touching those people 3, 4, 5 times, going to meetups, touching those people 3, 4, 5 times, getting them to invest with you, getting them to learn, to know you, to trust you, and then eventually they'll give you their money. It's patience, perseverance, persistence, and diligence. Those are the 4 that come to mind for me.
What's the number one thing that's contributed to your success?
For me,
either one of you.
My trust in God. I put my faith in God, and if I see a challenge in front of us, I just put it at His feet, and He guides me. And He's so faithful. He's answered every prayer.
Yeah. There's always that's at the top of the game, and I think the other thing that's contributed to our success is our attitude toward it, and I think it's a lot of things. I think it's the training that we have. I think a big thing also is that our investors are the most important thing to us. And we really work very hard to be very transparent with them and inclusive of them. For instance, I mean, one of the calls on one of our properties that we do weekly, we're happy to have. I mean, one of our investors listens in on that call the cash call every week, and we're happy to have them do that. We want them involved. We're very detailed with the monthly reports that they receive. We're open to talk to any of them. We don't just take their money and disappear. It's a relationship with them as well.
Yep.
And so they're our partners, and we treat them as such. And I think that is another part of it. And I think also we really like what we're doing. and
Yeah.
we try to have fun with what we're doing as well. I mean, that's always been my philosophy since I was young. If it isn't fun, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And we have fun with what we're doing.
Yep.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes we're pulling out our hairs, or I am. Paul's pulling on his ear, but.
And tell me, how do you all like to give back?
Well, I tithe with my church. I give back to my 501c3. It's called Welcoming Home Our Heroes Foundation. I support them. We support veterans on an annual basis. That's how I give back.
And I have several charities that I support.
Nice. Well, Paul and Lisa, thank you all very much. I know this partnership dynamic is something that a lot of listeners are working through and thinking about how they should navigate that. And I know you all provided a lot of wisdom in that and how you all have been successful. And I appreciate that. I know they're grateful. Tell the listeners how they can get in touch with you and learn more about your business.
Well, we can be reached. I can be reached on my cell phone, 631-664-6372.
And my cell is 760-443-0747. We also have a website, legacypropertypartnersusa.com. And then our emails are pretty easy. It's either Lisa or Paul. So mine is Lisa at investwithlpp.com. And Paul's is the same.
Paul at investwithlpp.com. Yep.
And we're happy to talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, just to if you want to bounce some ideas off of us, we'd be more than happy to just give you some of our experiences and share some of our experiences and give you some of our wisdom. So feel free to do that. We welcome it.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by Life Bridge Capital. Life Bridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. Life Bridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.